According to the National Electrical Code, specifically Section 210.52d, all 125-volt single-phase 15 and 20 amp receptacles that are installed in a kitchen require ground fault circuit interrupter protection, commonly referred to as GFCI protection. This rule applies regardless of the location of the receptacle within the kitchen, including those installed above a kitchen sink. The primary reason for requiring GFCI protection in kitchens is to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Kitchens are inherently wet environments with sinks, water sources, and the potential for spills. Water is an excellent conductor of electricity, and the presence of water significantly increases the likelihood of electric shock if a fault occurs in an electrical circuit or appliance. A ground fault occurs when there is an unintended electrical path between a current-carrying conductor and ground. This can happen if the insulation on a wire becomes damaged, or if an appliance malfunctions and allows electricity to leak to its metal enclosure. If a person comes into contact with a grounded object and a live conductor simultaneously, electricity will flow through their body, potentially causing severe injury or even death. A GFCI device is designed to detect ground faults and quickly interrupt the flow of electricity, thereby preventing or minimizing the severity of electric shocks. GFCIs work by monitoring the current balance between the hot and neutral conductors in a circuit. Under normal conditions, the current flowing through the hot conductor should be equal to the current returning through the neutral conductor. However, if a ground fault occurs, some of the current will flow through an unintended path to ground, creating an imbalance between the hot and neutral conductors. A GFCI device is designed to detect this imbalance and trip the circuit, typically within a fraction of a second. This rapid interruption of power can prevent serious injury or death from electric shock. There are two main types of GFCI devices that can be used to provide GFCI protection for receptacles. The first type is a GFCI receptacle, which is a standard receptacle with built-in GFCI protection. GFCI receptacles can be installed in place of standard receptacles and provide GFCI protection to all devices plugged into them. GFCI receptacles typically have a test button and a reset button, which are used to verify the functionality of the GFCI protection and to reset the device after it has tripped. The second type of GFCI device is a GFCI circuit breaker, which is a circuit breaker with built-in GFCI protection. GFCI circuit breakers are installed in the electrical panel and provide GFCI protection to all receptacles and devices connected to the circuit. GFCI circuit breakers also have a test button that is used to verify the functionality of the GFCI protection. When installing a receptacle above a kitchen sink, it is important to choose the appropriate type of GFCI device and to install it correctly. If a GFCI receptacle is used, it should be installed in a readily accessible location and it should be properly grounded. If a GFCI circuit breaker is used, it should be installed in the electrical panel and the wiring for the circuit should be properly installed. In addition to the GFCI protection requirements for kitchen receptacles, the National Electrical Code also has specific requirements for the location of receptacles in kitchens. Section 210.52c of the NEC requires that receptacles be installed along the countertop in kitchens so that no point along the countertop is more than 24 inches from a receptacle. This requirement is intended to ensure that appliances can be easily plugged in without the need for extension cords, which can be a safety hazard. When installing a receptacle above a kitchen sink for a wall-mounted television, it is important to consider the location of the receptacle in relation to the countertop. If the receptacle is located more than 24 inches from the edge of the countertop, it may be necessary to install additional receptacles to comply with the requirements of Section 210.52c. Furthermore, when installing a receptacle for a television, consideration must be given to the height of the television and the location of the receptacle. The receptacle should be installed at a height that is convenient for plugging in the television, and it should be located so that the power cord does not create a tripping hazard. In summary, any 125-volt, single-phase, 15 or 20 amp receptacle installed in a kitchen requires GFCI protection. This includes receptacles installed above a kitchen sink. GFCI protection is designed to minimize the risk of electrical shock in wet environments. It is essential to select the appropriate type of GFCI device and install it correctly. Additionally, consider the location of the receptacle in relation to the countertop and the height of the television to ensure compliance with the National Electrical Code and to promote safety. When installing electrical components, always follow local and national codes, and if you are not comfortable performing the work yourself, consult a qualified electrician. Ignoring these regulations could lead to hazardous conditions, including the risk of electrical shock, fire, and property damage. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a set of standards and guidelines for safe electrical installations in the United States. It is published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and is updated every 3 years. The NEC covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. It is widely adopted by state and local jurisdictions as the basis for their electrical codes. Compliance with the NEC is essential for ensuring the safety of electrical installations and protecting people and property from electrical hazards. Section 210.52 of the NEC specifically addresses receptacle outlet requirements in dwelling units. It outlines the number and location of receptacles required in various areas of a home, including kitchens, bathrooms, living rooms, and bedrooms. The purpose of these requirements is to ensure that residents have convenient access to electrical power and to minimize the use of extension cords, which can be a safety hazard. Subsection 210.52d focuses specifically on GFCI protection for receptacles in certain locations. As previously mentioned, it mandates GFCI protection for all 125-volt, single-phase, 15 and 20 ampere receptacles installed in kitchens. It also requires GFCI protection for receptacles installed in bathrooms, garages, outdoors, and in unfinished basements. The specific requirements for GFCI protection may vary slightly depending on the edition of the NEC that is adopted by the local jurisdiction. It is therefore essential to consult the latest edition of the NEC and any local amendments to ensure compliance with the applicable codes. In addition to the GFCI protection requirements for receptacles, the NEC also has specific requirements for the wiring methods used in kitchens and other wet locations. For example, the NEC requires that conductors be protected from physical damage and that they be suitable for the environmental conditions in which they are installed. This may involve using specific types of wiring, such as type UF cable, which is designed for use in wet locations. The NEC also has specific requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment to the earth, which provides a path for fault current to flow in the event of a ground fault. Bonding is the process of connecting metal parts of an electrical system together, which helps to ensure that they are at the same electrical potential. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for preventing electrical shock and fire hazards. When installing electrical equipment in a kitchen, it is important to follow all applicable requirements of the NEC and any local codes. This includes selecting the appropriate wiring methods, providing GFCI protection for receptacles, and ensuring proper grounding and bonding. If you are not comfortable performing the electrical work yourself, it is always best to consult a qualified electrician. An electrician has the knowledge and experience to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant with all applicable codes. Furthermore, they can advise on the best way to meet the specific needs of your project. Attempting to perform electrical work without proper training and experience can be dangerous and may result in serious injury or property damage. It is also important to note that electrical codes and regulations are subject to change. Therefore, it is essential to stay up to date on the latest requirements and to consult with local authorities to ensure that your electrical installation is compliant. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your kitchen is safe and functional.